Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. My name is Mark. Today I'm going to make a personal message to the Morgile, and you folks are along for the ride. Condemnation without investigation is the epitome of ignorance, and you're looking at it. Because Greater Sapien had a video, the ultimate ignorance is rejection of something you know nothing about and then refuse to investigate. The Morgile knows nothing about the questions, the 11 questions that were asked by Greater Sapien. And he just basically says when the census fails us, we have to look to other stuff. So the Morgile did a critique, an answer to the 11 questions. He never really did answer anything. He just kept saying, that's irrelevant, that's irrelevant, that's irrelevant, when asked the questions because he couldn't answer them. Greater Sapien posed some great questions. Haven't seen him really pose one question, so here's a little Flat Earth 101 for the Morgile, who apparently doesn't even understand his own Flat Earth notion and belief that he's a part of. Here's the Flat Earth. Here's the way everybody that has this notion and belief thinks that it works to some extent. Now, the questions posed by Greater Sapien were just, okay, how does that work on your Flat Earth? I don't think he posed a question about the light-dark cycle, but that's basically how it has to look for time zones to work on a Flat Earth. But I digress. Let's get into some of the other things, because we could spend a lot of time on just how does light work. Because if you see the flashlight, the circle of the flashlight, it's an elliptical. It's not really a circle. So it doesn't work with time zones. But time zones aren't my concern. I'm just pointing that out so you understand. I'm asking basic questions about light interacting with the Earth. I've asked the Morgile several times on his video, on other videos. I've messaged him directly and asked him to answer a simple question. I did this with BMLSB, who kind of obfuscated bewildered and tried to confuse the issue by asking another question. So the Greater Sapien said, basically, this is how things work on a flat Earth. Object B, Object A, they're leaning, but which way is this leaning? Look at Object B. Well, is it leaning away from you or towards you? Is that leaning away from you or towards you? Is that leaning away from you or towards you? And how do you know? Because in real life, we know exactly how it looks. It looks like this, right? So, which way in those other ones was it leaning? Away? Who knows? This was an experiment conducted on the Bedford Canal in 1870 by John Hampden and Alfred Russel Wallace. And Wallace proved that the top figure was the one that worked. It was a curved surface. So here's my question in the Morgile. We got low-hanging clouds. How does sunlight shine on the bottom of a cloud on a flat Earth? I can explain, and I will explain quite succinctly how this happens, because we know what happens. This is a reality. Sunlight at sunrise and sunset shines on the bottom of a cloud. I don't think Greater Sapiens asked or answered this, but here's the shape of the Earth, the surface of the Earth, according to the accepted model. And the buildings, for all intents and purposes, they simply represent mountains. So here's Mesquite, Nevada, with a cloud above it on the Earth. It's in the Great Basin, and the sunlight coming in from the green big angle would be a flat Earth sun, and I've kind of popped some things in there to show the representation. The green represents the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevadas that would be blocking sunlight, because Mesquite, Nevada is only 1,100 feet above sea level, and a cloud would be 6,500 feet. So, the Morgile, give me some Flat Earth 101. I know I've went through this pretty quickly because I'm trying to explain to you my basic question. I've explained it in detail. I've even got a couple of videos out with it. But I'll go over this again. Basic shape of the Earth. Here we have the basic shape of the Earth. Let's examine that. You know, everybody says buildings should lean back and forth, but of course my other pictures, you know, which way was the Leaning Tower of Pisa leaning? Towards you or away from you? Can't really tell, can you? Now, and you aren't going to see side-to-side leaning unless you get to the side. Now, and that's not going to work, so let's back up and look at this. Here we have the basic shape. That's why if you stand on the top of one building, if it's far enough distance and because of curvature, you can't see the other building at all. You can only see maybe the top of it. Like is demonstrated in a view from Alcott Beach to the CN Tower in Toronto. You can only see part of it. You can only see part of the skyline because the ground, or in this case the water of Lake Ontario, is blocking your view. Now, here we have a real-life situation. This is a cloud over in Mesquite, Nevada, which Mesquite, Nevada is 1,100 feet above sea level. It is in what's called the Great Basin. It's in a hole. So how does sunlight get not only to the bottom of a hole, but on the underside of a cloud over a hole? At sunrise and sunset. At sunrise, the sun makes it over the top of the Rocky Mountains, which are 14,500 feet high, to shine on the bottom of a cloud over a city in the Great Basin, one of the lowest points in the Great Basin. And there's no water for that to reflect off of. It's in a desert. So how does the sunlight get on the bottom of it? Now, the other side is also true. At sunset, the sunlight gets over the top of the 14,500 foot Sierra Nevadas, and then it shines on the bottom of the cloud. Here's how it works in the real world on a globe. You can see I've drawn sunlight as kind of a yellowish looking, and it can easily make it over the top of the Sierra Nevadas and yet shine on the bottom of the cloud. It's quite simple. Either direction, it's going to shine on the bottom of the cloud at sunrise or sunset exactly like it does. That's how it works on a globe model. Now, here's a representation extrapolated out to show the flat line of your flat Earth. Now, if we look at this and we study it closely, the green lines represent, on each side, the tall ones represent the Sierra Nevadas and the Rocky Mountains. In the middle, we have Mesquite, Nevada, and the cloud. The sunlight is that big green line coming in. Why does it look like that? Well, because the Sierra Nevadas, let's just say this is sunset. See them on the left? Well, the sun, supposedly according to your theory and idea, well, according to the notion and belief of flat earthers, is that it's 3,000 miles high. And it doesn't get any lower. It doesn't get any higher. It's 3,000 miles. This cloud is roughly above sea level a couple of miles. So the slope of something 3,000 miles high shining onto something that's 2 miles high, That's kind of the angle. And so how does it's got to make at least a 90-degree turn to get back to that point and shine on the bottom of that. Now, before you say perspective, the Morgile, perspective is a drawing term. It's an optical illusion. It's a known optical illusion because the bridge doesn't get any smaller. It looks like it does, but it really doesn't. It stays the same width. The road doesn't disappear into a little ribbon. It stays the same size. This is just an optical illusion. So optical illusions aren't going to... And you show me an optical illusion in real life where sunlight bends over 90 degrees. You can show me refraction where it bends a few degrees. And in water, it bends even more. But without a mirrored surface, how is it going to bend more than 90 degrees to shine on the bottom of the cloud on your flat Earth? Explain how that happens. Now, I know that others used to talk to me and now they don't. Mark Sargent commented once, BMLSB69, taboo conspiracy. Well, until I proved that he was lying to his... He used to critique my videos, and till I proved that he was lying in his critique and showed how he's been lying to all of his followers, now he won't talk to me at all. BMLSB69 kept hammering at me with a straw man about... I was asking him the same question. How does it work on your flat Earth? How does light shine on the bottom of a cloud? And all he kept asking me is, where's the sun? What is sunlight? You know, just questions that seemed to fit the situation, but really didn't. They were just trying to obfuscate the, bewilder and confuse the issue. So, getting back to this, why won't you talk to me? Why won't you answer me? Just answer me a simple question. You answered all of, you didn't really answer them. You just kept saying that's irrelevant, and then you just rambled on. You didn't really answer anything. But at least you made a video, and at least you did something. Make a video about this. Make a video about sunlight on the bottom of a cloud. It's reality. It happens. It can't be irrelevant because it does. It happens. How does an object 3,000 miles high? And if you perform any experiments, which I've never seen you do, remember to keep it to scale. And here's the scale. An object 2 inches high needs to have, according to your notion and idea and whatever your flat Earth notion is at the moment, an object 3,000 miles high would be in comparative scale to a cloud a couple miles high. If you compare that to an object 2 inches high, then your light source has to be 167 feet high, roughly 16 stories. So you explain to me on a flat Earth how... Let's not use the sun and a cloud. Let's do an experiment that you can do. How does an object that is only 2 inches high have a light shine on it underneath, 2 inches high, from an object, from a light source that's 167 feet high, 16 stories? How and where does that happen? And perform that experiment and show that to me. And don't worry, the Morgile. I question everything everybody says. I just recently saw a video where Greater Sapien talks about TheMorgile and about atheism, which is another silly thing, and my next video is gonna talk about it. But for now, the Morgile. One question, just focus on one question. I don't have 11, I have one. on a flat Earth how and demonstrate. And I love your little thing up here that says it's only a model. Yes, it is a model of the globe. And you can purchase one many different places online. You can purchase a model. Follow-up question: when you show me how sunlight shines on the bottom of a cloud, demonstrate that with your model. Oh wait, there is no model. There is no physical model that you can purchase of a flat Earth, is there? Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Mark with Productions MJC.